Hello, welcome to CLSP Politics. Sean Briscoe speaking. Massachusetts. Actually, I have quite a bit of experience in this state. I worked it back in 2010. I was based out of Worcester, and because we were running statewide, logistically, you know, I've caucused in 55 townships in Massachusetts. I don't know there are many Texans that can say that. Uh, it was a great experience. The food was amazing. I think the Bruins were just destroying everyone back in 2010. So I would go down the street to the pub in Worcester, and I would sit there and I would order my fish and chips and my Guinness, and I would sit there and I would literally be surrounded by crazy hockey fans. It was so much fun. It's one of my fondest memories of that race was hanging out with all of these crazy hockey fans. I love hockey. I've never played it, nor do I ever want to, but I love hockey. I love watching hockey. It's a really fun, dynamic sport. So I was just happy as a clam. I didn't really have a dog in the hunt. And I was just watching the Bruins just annihilate other teams. It was super fun. So I have a lot of really good memories when it comes to Massachusetts and uh, people that are real down to earth. Yeah, really interesting. So Massachusetts is a blue state, and it's not going anywhere. It's going to be a blue Senate seat, no doubt. Um, it's got a lot of diversity in its cities. In fact, full blown melting pot in the cities. But when you get in the rural areas, it gets a lot whiter. But I can tell you, I mean, if you go back and look at this map, you go look at the west side of Massachusetts, it's all blue. I mean, and it's all white. So a lot of white liberals in Massachusetts. Real quick, like and subscribe if you haven't. You can go to my YouTube page. I have a PayPal. All donations are appreciated. It helps keep this channel going. You can become a paid member of my Substack, which does the same purpose, keeps the channel going. All revenues go basically to journals and different web subscriptions that I pay for out of pocket, pretty much. And $5 is like, oh great, thank you for covering this for a month. It's that kind of thing. So helps just offset the cost of doing this channel. Let's talk about the candidates running. So this is an interesting primary. So you got Edward Markey, who's the incumbent, right, sitting at 2.6 million. Then you got Seth Moulton, so who's running at two, and he's got 2.1 million. And that's, you don't see that often. But we're seeing a lot of this starting, I think, this cycle. Really, it might have happened a little bit last cycle, but really this cycle, the Democrats are kind of, I think the voters want to move on. And I find that there's a lot of a generational shift that's happening in the Senate and the House. And I think this could be part of that. It's because of the fact that the voters believe that the incumbents are rolling over for Trump, even though that there are very few where I could say yes, that's probably happening. It's an incredibly small minority, but because that's a lot of nuance for any electorate to really get into, they tend to paint with the broad brush. And we've all been guilty of that. It's not, nothing new. And I think that's what's happening here. But to be honest, the Republicans did this in 2010 with the Tea Party. When Obama won, just smashed them in Georgia and just won states that Democrats haven't won or weren't in theory even supposed to win. And I can attest to that. Went all the way down the ballot. In Dallas County, we won state house seats that we weren't even supposed to win. And if you're interested in that story, you can go into my my channel. If you search Obama, it'll pop up. I was a data director for Obama Dallas, and so I have all the notes and everything, all the maps and all the stuff and everything we did in that cycle. And one of the things we did in that cycle was knock on doors in state house seats that probably hadn't gotten a lot of love. And we were able to take those seats in 2008. Well, that freaked out the Republicans basically from one end of this country to the other. So they kind of got rid of a bunch of the older, more stodgy, I guess, less radical Republicans. The moderates were starting to die off in the Republican Party. And I think I see a lot of that happening here in our Democratic Party, which I'll be honest, you can't fight radicalization with moderation. Moderation loses every time. The reason I know that is because of history. So we need powerful speakers, radical Democrats to offset their crazy nut job bonkos Republicans. That's just what we need. You know, we're going to beat them with facts, which is a hard thing to do in politics, but that's what we need. So I think the louder the candidate, the better, because the volume that we have to fight is so loud and just full of nonsense. So we need people who can call out the nonsense and can push the envelope. Those are the candidates I'm looking for this cycle. Big number here in Massachusetts is a D plus 33. Like I said, this state ain't going anywhere. So, yeah, not going anywhere. And this is probably a low number for this coming cycle. It could go up. So, yeah. Well, that's Massachusetts in a nutshell. The Senate seat, like I said, the primary is the most interesting thing. We're going to follow that for the rest of the cycle, right into September, because their primary it started now and it goes till September. So literally a 10-month primary. Keep in mind that we're 65 days away from the Texas primary, and then they have this huge long general. Crazy. Anyway, and if you're interested in the schedule for primaries, you gotta go check out in the congressional schedule for primaries. The first two shows I do are on the overall schedule for all the states when they have their primary. What's that mean? What are some of the mechanics behind that? What is an early primary versus a late primary, and how that math plays out? Yeah. So yeah, Texas has a notoriously short primary, 60 days. It's crazy. And then it's a very long general. It goes right through the summer. So go check that out if you haven't. The schedule's very interesting. And the fact that they put all of these primaries basically in May and June, when parents are going crazy with their kids, getting them out of school, and people are going vacation. It's literally, if you have kids, it's the worst time of the year. And that's when the bulk of the primaries in our country are scheduled. Super weird, but facts. All right, guys, I'll talk to you later. And I have a special guest coming onto my Christmas show, and I hope he's my research assistant, and I hope you can all meet him. That's my only spoiler and that I'm going to give, but he's very cute, and I think you all will like him very much. All right, talk to you guys later. Bye.